Hi guys, welcome to another episode of the 1964 Triumph TR4 overhauling. This is episode number 33, I believe. So we've done a lot of work on this car. We've been through all the systems except the metal work. So we've been through the electrical systems, the brakes, suspension, engine rebuilding, overdrive even. We even changed the exhaust, LED lights, etc, etc. So at this point we're done with pretty much everything except the cosmetical stuff, which means the seats, which are not in bad shape, the covers, but the foam inside is pretty bad on this one. We will see how the other one is. And yeah, and that's it. So without further ado, let's get crack-a-lacking with the seats. So I don't think I'm gonna hold you here for all the stuff that I'm gonna do with the seats, but you can see here how, yeah, nice. The foam is literally disintegrating. Anyways, to begin with, I'm gonna take the cover off. There's some clips here. I don't know what these are, but we have to remove these clips and start taking the cover off. All right, so this is the situation here. There you go. Obviously, this foam is pretty much done. Here underneath you can see that somebody's already been there and they replaced the webbing here, which was probably ripped all over, and I'm assuming the webbing is supposed to be like this one, which is actually leather. But this one is also so hard, like it's stretched and hard, so it doesn't do anything. It's supposed to support your weight when you lean back. These two were loose. These were stuck to the foam. You can see here, they were supposedly doing something, but these two, never. So I think this piece we can save. We're gonna have to rebuild this part here. We're gonna make it nice. I'll show you how. Don't worry, I've been an upholsterer too. So we're gonna do that together. This webbing we're gonna have to replace. This here, actually whoever's done that didn't do a bad job. I mean, this is seat belt webbing and it is nice and solid actually. The only problem is it is very loose because they held it with hog rings here and it's supposed to have hooks like these. So what I think I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna make hooks and we're gonna use we're gonna do the same thing here. We're just gonna use hooks and we're gonna stitch them on the sewing machine in such a way that they actually are nice and tight, because this doesn't stretch. This is perfect. For the back, we're gonna cut these off and we're gonna put the hooks on webbing from ratchet strap, and that's also pretty solid webbing. It's not gonna stretch. And the only problem is this foam. We're gonna have to make new one because this is impossible to save. I looked into buying a new set of foam. It is crazy expensive, $370 I believe American. So by the time we get it here with tax, duty, shipping and everything, it's gonna become about 700 Canadian, which is way too much. So we're gonna remove everything because we wanna do it better. So I'm gonna remove the hog rings. All right, so I took everything apart and I wire wheeled quickly the frame, and I can't reach everywhere, unfortunately. There's some areas where I can't do much, but at least in the main areas I was able to wire wheel it. And now I'm gonna just rust convert it. I'm gonna spray, or I don't know, maybe I'm gonna brush on rust converter, and then I'm gonna take the other seat apart too, and we're gonna get it to the same stage so we can paint them. The paint can dry overnight, and tomorrow we can continue with the upholstery. All right, so this seat is taken apart almost, and here you can see that this foam is pretty much in the same shape. At least we have the front end here still intact, so it can give us a little bit of information of what we need. Even acorn here. Yeah, rodents. The rear one, the backrest one, is not too bad, except here again. This is gonna need to be rebuilt. You see somehow it shifted itself out of the thing. So this is gonna be easy. This is gonna be harder, but still I'm pretty sure we can do it. And here we have the same situation. So I'm gonna strip this again, and I'm gonna clean it, and I'm gonna rust convert it. Let me see what's going on with the other one. Well, it started taking some effect, the rust converter. So yeah, hopefully we're gonna be able to paint them today so we can so they can dry overnight. Okay, so the second seat is cleaned up and rust converted. This one is already in primer, so I'm going with some trim cloud black paint just to bring it back to the original color and to protect it from the rust, of course. Okay, later we're gonna flip it upside down and we're gonna paint the bottom too. And maybe later we're gonna come and do one more coat. All right, so it's the next day and the seats are painted, dry, and now we can start assembling them. What I did was I took out one of these wires from here, because this is like these don't work anymore. And like I said yesterday, we're gonna sacrifice a ratchet strap. They're cheap anyways. And what we're gonna do, we're gonna replace these with ratchet straps. We're gonna hook them up like this. We're gonna make them as tight as possible, I guess. And we're gonna stitch them here. So let's go on the sewing machine and do the first one. I'm not sure that I've shown you my sewing machine before. I bought this almost a year ago, and I have used it like 2 or 3 times maximum. But that's why I bought it, for jobs like this. So let's finally use it. So this doesn't seem to be much wider. It's a 1/4 inch wider, but even these move back and forth, so it's fine. So if we hook it up here, we're gonna make them pretty tight because it's gonna be springy, you know? The sewing machine doesn't want to climb on it. Okay. There you go. All right, so after a little bit of fighting, all the webbing is installed. It was tricky because I made these as tight as possible when it was tricky to install them. but I did, and I actually twisted the ends of all these hooks up so they don't come out. So that's good. I think I'm gonna also cut a piece of something here to put on top of that. We will see about that later, but now this is the old foam. It's nasty, I know, but that's what it looks like. So I can use it as a pattern. It's square, at least the bottom is square, the back is a little bit slanted, but the bottom is square. So I can use it as a pattern and cut a new foam. I looked at pictures of the aftermarket foam, and it looks like it is flat top and it's a little bit slanted here at the end. So that's what we're gonna do too. So I have this foam which I used before for something else. So we're gonna mark the top, which is this, right? And it's bigger than the bottom. The bottom needs to be in a little bit. We'll cut it a little bit bigger maybe, I don't know. It's a foam, so we can always squish it. It's better to be a little bit bigger than smaller, right? These are expensive scissors. Here I want to cut it a little bit at a time, because if I squeeze it on the corner, it's gonna become like this, so I don't want to do that. So a little bit at a time. And I went a little bit in. Let's do that here as well. So you see I'm not 90 degrees, I'm a little bit pointing inwards. Now we can shape this, and I think that's what we're gonna do. Let's go shape it. Now for this, believe me, you wanna be outside, and you wanna have an air gun ready to blow yourself at the end, because this is sticking everywhere. But believe it or not, you can use one of these grinders with whatever grit, 60, 80, 40, whatever you have. And that's it. And this is what I'm talking about. Don't bring this inside your home. It's heavy, it's gonna fall down, but it sticks everywhere before it falls down. All right. Let's see how it fits now. I think it's perfect, isn't it? Yep. All right, but before we put it there, I think I'm gonna use this. I cut this piece of vinyl, or whatever this is, just so the foam doesn't fall in between these. I don't know. I have the feeling it's a good idea. Normally here you would have a rubber diaphragm, but what we're doing here is we're just improving what we found, and I don't think it's a bad idea. I mean, the car is not original. Like we said many times already, we're not looking for originality on this car. We're just making it reliable, nice and solid. And I believe what we've just done is nice and solid. If we want new foam, new webbing, new everything, we're gonna need about 500 American dollars. And then we're gonna want new covers, of course, and that's gonna be another 500, I guess. And they're gonna become the most expensive seats in the world. So no, we are doing it so it is nice and solid, but not original. And now we can put this cover back. We're just gonna flip it. I'm gonna flip this for now upside down. I'll show you why. Inside out, or whatever you wanna call it. Here inside we have a spring. So this spring has to hook right here. And there's another hole right here. There you go. So the back is hooked. Now we're gonna make sure that the foam is lined up where it's supposed to be, because after that we're not gonna be able to fit it properly if it moves. Like this. And now we're gonna align the foam with our seam here, and we're gonna flip this down. Then we're gonna do the same here. Make sure that the foam is aligned everywhere. And flip this. This way we avoid the friction, because if the cover was as it is right now and we try to slip it, the friction between the cover and the foam is going to misplace the foam. Now we know that the edge of the foam is right at the seam. That's what we wanted, right? Wow, look at this. Well, and now from here we're going to flip it upside down, and we're going to hook it up wherever it was. We still have the marks from the, what are they called, from the clips. So I'm just gonna put one here for now, just to hold it in place until we line up everything else. Make sure that everything is fitting just as it was, right? Maybe you want to come closer. I had these. I don't know if these are original. Not really sure. But that's how they were. Okay, and with that, I think the bottom is now done. Nice. Okay, so let's do the foam. Oops, that came undone. Let's fix the foam for the back now. This one is pretty good, but this one is pretty bad. So that, I believe, needs to be like this, right? And go gradually. So we have this half-inch foam that we can build here and then grind a slope. You know what I mean? We have this 3M adhesive, spray adhesive, so I'm hoping it's gonna work. Perfect. Foam likes glue, you know. Now we can cut it here. I put it also at the side here, and we're gonna grind it down. I just wanted to to make it a little bit more stable in the corner. This one here is fine, but on the other side we were missing foam, so now we're gonna have it. So now I'm just gonna remove as much as I can with the scissors, so I don't need to grind this. I don't need to turn it into dust, you know. So now let's go outside again and and now we're gonna do the same with the back rest and the cover. We're gonna flip it inside out. Maybe we should actually glue the foam here because it's gonna move on me. Okay, so now it's not gonna move. Now again, we're gonna line up the seams here at the top, and we're gonna try to tack this allowance here. When you're using old covers, it is relatively easy because you can see all the marks and everything how it was. When you're doing new covers, you need to shape the cover. Here it's already, the cover pretty much has taken its shape, so it's much easier, you know. There you go. So now we have to make sure that it is nice and tight down there, and we're gonna pull the bottom. So that looks good. And now the last thing is this rear cover, which here has those 3 clips that are supposed to fit under there, and then there's 2 screws that go through here. So let's see if we can fit those. That actually clipped good. We have to see the screws. They're most likely not gonna line up with the hose, so we might need to drill new hose, which is fine. This one actually, we hit the hole. All right, and now here looks like these actually go through here too. So we're gonna do that now. Okay, and that's it. One seat is done. All right, so the driver's seat is assembled as well. Looks great, nice and full now. And I started assembling the interior here already, so I cleaned up inside. Finally, the foam was all over the place, but I vacuumed it and installed the transmission cover. And I wasn't planning to keep you here for that, for assembling interior, but I was about to start installing the shifter again after I removed it to put the transmission cover, and I realized that there's one more thing that I wanted to show you here. So I cleaned these parts. There was like old grease that I cleaned. Just we want to install fresh grease, but here we have one more new part that we need to install, and that's the spring and the little plunger here. I need to go find them now. Okay, so here are the two parts that we need to install. Plunger shifter lever, part number 848150, and the spring, which is part number 329420. So this spring and plunger, what they do is they prevent it from shaking. Supposedly they help it click into place. They were missing on this car completely, so we got them and we're gonna install them. So we're gonna put some grease. That's the spring and that's the plunger. It doesn't have direction, so it's a little bit too big. Okay, so it doesn't stick too far out. I don't know how it helps, but supposedly. So then we're gonna put a little bit more grease here around this head, because that's what slides inside. Maybe we can put some there too. That slides between the three shafts, left and right. Then we're gonna put grease here where the bow is. What is the bow doing? It's bowling. A little bit on the actual bow, and then it goes like this. Good. Now here we have a spring that goes like this, upside down. Yes, it looks like it's upside down, but it's not. And then this plate slides inside this outer, what is this, like a yoke. So here we need grease as well. Like this. And then, this is important, I put it backwards the other day. You see this hole? So there's 3 holes here. There's 1, 2, 3. And we have 2 holes here and 1 here. So of course, this hole needs to be towards us. And that's what I did wrong the other day. And here, this pattern on top prevented me from shifting into second gear. Now for later transmissions, you have 2 screws on the side that are actually adjusters. They can limit how far the shifter can go to the left and the right. On this transmission, it's an early transmission, it's only one bolt that goes through the entire bowl. Now I shouldn't forget this screw, and then the cover and everything else. Alright, so the interior is assembled, the center and everything. And I just wanted to show you here underneath, I put a little USB port. It is mounted to the rail that I made for here, for the glove box support. And also here is the switch for the fan, the auxiliary fan. If you look from here, you can't see none of them, so they're kind of hidden. But if you turn the ignition on, you can just reach underneath and it's so easy to find it. And turn the fan on. So that was the last thing, I believe. I'm just gonna take my tools away, vacuum one more time, clean the car everywhere. And I just need Chef Tash to come and help me install the bonnet. And that's it. Everything is assembled, everything is ready. All right, so it is delivery day. I'm expecting the owner to come in the next couple of hours to pick her up. So I was just finishing some things this morning and I'm running around so I can get her done. Because she's done, but there were a few little things that I had to finish. I had to install the seats, I had to clean the interior. I think I showed you the interior assembled, but I had to vacuum again and everything. The seats are now nice and pallet. I don't think I showed you this one, but yeah, it looks great. No more disintegrating foam. So That's good. What else did I do this morning? Oh, I used a little bit of help from my girlfriend and we installed the bonnet. Uh, that led to a little issue. So I realized something. When I installed the emergency release, there was a little screw in the kit that I couldn't figure out where it goes. Well, I figured it out today. It needs to come here because otherwise, when you use the regular release cable like this, what happens is, you see here, this thing falls all the way down. Now I installed this screw here to keep it so it doesn't go all the way down, because once it loses grip here, right here, it just goes down all the way and then you let go, but this is staying down and you can't use it. So that's what this little screw is. So anyways, had to fix that. What else? I replaced this windshield wiper arm too, and I had to change these gaskets here that you see some of them are still on the floor, like you see what they looked like. And now I believe we are down to cleaning. So I have about 2 hours to clean her, wipe her, because she's dusty. She has my dirty fingers all over the place. Inside I wiped yesterday, but we're gonna wipe one more time. We're gonna raise the windows and clean those as well. So yeah, I'm happy. So she's pretty much done, except the cleaning. I also printed the wiring diagram for the owner, and I'm gonna send it to him by email as well, because I don't have a color printer, so it's black and white. So that's for him. And I printed here a list of everything that we've done, because I wanted, as a conclusion, to give you an idea what has been done and how long it took. So I believe he brought the car. I didn't check that, but I have the information in my computer, but I believe he brought the car at the end of October, something like that, and it is beginning of April now. So it was here November, December, January, February, March, like 5 months, almost half a year this car has been here. But we've done a lot of work on it. So we started with the wiring harness. If you remember, under the dash, the wiring harness was burned. One wire was shorted, and we had to take the whole entire wiring harness out, and we unwrapped it and we replaced some wires and brought her back to life. It was pretty dangerous, what the condition of that harness. Then we converted her from positive to negative ground. We installed a new voltage stabilizer and temperature sender, because something happened with that temperature sender, and we figured out that the voltage stabilizer wasn't stabilizing the voltage perfectly at 10 volts. It was going maximum to 8 and then to 0, so the average was probably 4 volts, and that have probably affected also the fuel gauge, because the owner was telling me that he had issues with the fuel gauge, but I don't see any issues right now. Anyways, that's not the order in which they were done. I just tried to group them somehow. So we rebuilt the whole engine with lots of new parts. I'm not going to list them all, but new liners, pistons, valves, hardened seats on the head and stuff like that. It's a brand new engine, has a good compression now, and we tuned it pretty well. We cleaned and tuned the carbs. The ignition system we checked with the proper tool from the 1990s, a snap-on Counselor 2 oscilloscope. We converted the distributor to electronic ignition. We got rid of the points, installed a new aluminum rad with a new overflow bottle, which was missing before. We installed even an electric fan. I have a switch here with which the owner can bypass the temperature probe, because there's a temperature probe that automatically should turn on the fan if it starts overheating, but he can also do it manually from inside. We installed a new high torque starter. We serviced the transmission and the overdrive, changed seals and some gaskets, and the overdrive wasn't working, and we figured it needed a new solenoid, so we changed that. We converted her from a generator to alternator, and that included also bypassing the voltage regulator. Then the front, we serviced the steering rack. Underneath, we replaced the U-joints on the drive shaft. We serviced the diff. We drilled even a hole for a drain plug, because normally these cars don't come with drain plugs. And we replaced the exhaust, the whole entire system, with a stainless steel. We did a small repair on the frame on this side. The bump stop went through the bump stop plate. We replaced the front springs, the ball joints and shock absorbers. We even replaced the front hub bearings and seals. We serviced the rear brakes and the lever shocks, you know, those Armstrong lever shocks. They were fun to work on. We replaced one brake line because it failed on us, but then we decided and went ahead and replaced all of the brake lines, so it has a brand new brake system right now. We installed a new radio with Bluetooth so the owner can play music from his phone, and we installed also a separate USB charger so he can charge his phone. We installed door mirrors because the car didn't have any. Also, we serviced the inside of the door. The window winders weren't working very well, so we greased them and they started moving up and down nicely. We replaced all the bulbs except the headlights, but the dash bulbs, the marker lights, signal lights, brake lights, all the license plate lights, we replaced all the bulbs with LED. We serviced the pedal box. The clutch and the brake pedal were shaky, so we replaced the bushings and the shaft there. We painted also the box while it was out. And recently we replaced the foam in the seats and the weather strips. So these are the major things that we've done. There's lots of little things that we've done on the way that I didn't even record, but all these things took, what do you think it took? It took 193 hours. So here are all the old parts that we took out, the generator, the starter motor, all the engine parts that we took out and replaced, rocker shafts, rockers, the springs, the old shocks, even the water pump we replaced with a new one, the ignition coil. Here are the liners with the old pistons and rings and everything, the old bulbs, the old radio. He had a cassette tape radio, and the old clutch. So I believe that's everything. Oh, we need to give him also his old radiator that is sitting over there. I shouldn't forget that, so I should pull it out now. And yeah, that's it. I'm gonna get crack-a-lacking with the rug now. Oh, this I forgot to mention. We got a third brake light here, magnetic one, so it doesn't so it's not permanent. He can put it on and off whenever he wants to. It's a safety feature for whenever you want, but if you want to take it to a car show and you don't want that, you can always take it off and put it in the trunk. So yeah, that's it. I'm gonna probably show you one more shot at the end when she's clean, and this is gonna be the last episode about this car. We're gonna give it to the owner so he can enjoy it for the summer, which is pretty close. There you go. She is nice and clean now, all ready for her owner to come and pick her up. I'm sure she is as excited as he is because they haven't seen each other in a while. Well, he came to visit a few times, but they haven't been out on the road together, so so that's gonna be everything for today and for this series, guys. This is episode number 33, final. We went on a journey together for entire winter with her, but she's already, like I said, she's mechanically, she's like a new car. The only things that remain are cosmetical, but I believe that her owner, now that he has such a sound car, I'm sure he's gonna take care of the exterior as well. He's gonna make her look beautiful, not only run and sound beautiful. So like I said, this is gonna be the end for this series, but as you know, we have many other projects like this GT6 here behind me is patiently waiting. So now we're gonna jump on it. There are a few other customers already coming. So our exciting journey continues. It's not the last of it. So once again, guys, thanks for watching, thanks for commenting, subscribing, sharing, supporting the channel. I really, really appreciate it. And don't forget to check out the Rusty Beauties group on Facebook. And also, if you are interested in some merchandise branded Rusty Beauties, below the video there's an online store. You can check that out. So once again, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next series. Bye.